How we doing? Welcome back, everybody. Can you believe that it's already fucking 2026? Sorry to come out the bat swearing, but I can't believe we're already into another year. Recently, I started the New Year's tradition of putting my goals down in ink. I have a little journal that I write them in every year. And at the end of the year, I love to kind of reflect on them. Think about what worked, what didn't work, what I'm going to do differently next year. Writing them down makes them that much more real, forces you to be honest, gives you clarity. Goals don't matter if they just live in your head. Once they are physically written down in ink, that's when they become real. Before I can officially set my 2026 goals, I want to reflect on 2025's and just be completely open and honest with you guys, because I did achieve a lot of what I wanted to, but I stretch what I think is possible a little bit sometimes, and I think that keeps me driven and motivated. Just know that you really shouldn't be able to complete every single thing on your list. That being said, let's jump into our 2025 goals to reflect on a little bit. Like I mentioned, got them in a little journal that I got from TJ Maxx. Let's jump in. The goals I finished this year: I took a leap of faith and I quit the job that I was working previously. I was in the trades for about 6 years. It just wasn't for me at the end of the day. I was making great money. I had great benefits, this, that, and the other, but one of the nightmares that I constantly had when I was dreaming or daydreaming is I'd wake up in 20 years and be like, where the fuck is my life gone? I wasted all this time doing something I hated, so I decided to quit, take a leap of faith, and I became a real estate agent, and that was the best decision single-handedly that I made last year. Also, I ran my first marathon after dealing with numerous injuries and having it put off for about 2 years. Planned my wedding, that's coming up in February of this year. I felt like I took leaps forward personally when it came to living regret-free, when it came to being a person that others can look up to, and learning throughout the year. If you notice a trend though in these goals, a lot of them are not measurable, which is something that I completely changed for the most part for 2026. So I could break it down into quarterly goals. Not being measurable makes it really hard to actually stick to your goals and track your progress. I post a YouTube video every single week for the entire year. Now when it came to the not failure but learning moments that I had in the last year, some things that I didn't really officially do were I felt like I didn't give my 100% into everything. I wrote that down, but I don't think that's physically possible. You can't give 100% in everything and thrive. You're going to lose out on sleep, you're going to be tired, other things are just going to suffer. So that was just a shitty goal to write down, but I learned from it. Put myself into an uncomfortable situation every day. This is measurable, but I didn't track it in any way. I feel like I got way better at doing things that made me uncomfortable, especially with this new career. I'm going to say that I probably did do that. Finish 1 book a month, actually absorbing information and not rushing through it. I started off the year strong, but I ended up kind of falling off on that and focused more on podcasts, because I feel like when I listen to a book, I do audiobooks first off, so I listen to it a little bit on commutes, driving to showings, but I noticed that a lot of it goes in one ear and out the other, because I can't really remember what happened the last time. So I began to focus more on self-improvement and self-growth podcasts instead. Another was to take on a triathlon. Tri-bikes are extremely expensive. Finding a place to swim, not cheap to get another gym membership. So I decided to put that on the back burner too. I was really dialed in when it came to my budget this year. Financially, I made a ton of good financial decisions. So that's going to take a seat probably through 2026 also. And I think we might approach that in 2027. Those were my 2025 goals. I learned so much in the last year. It kind of blows my mind. About health and fitness, I didn't think that there was much more for me to learn, but I learned. I expanded my knowledge 10 times, I feel like. I started a new career, picked something up, and learned a ton in that career. But that is the end of another chapter. And we're at the beginning of another one. And I feel like a lot of people's goals fall off very early into a new year. So I want to talk a little bit about what I am doing to set 2026 goals that are sustainable, maybe somewhat, but are going to challenge me. Kind of go through my thought process with you guys. Like I mentioned, a few of the rules that I'm going to implement in 2026 for the most part. So make my goals measurable. I want them to challenge my identity as much as possible. Growth, change, failing, that's okay. And I want to split them up between personal, business, and health and fitness. That being said, let's jump into our 2026 goals. Putting them out there on the internet. This is really gonna challenge me. I'm gonna quickly run through them. We'll go from there. Fitness goals for 2026. I want to run 2 more marathons. I want to run a sub 1 hour and 30 minute half marathon. I want to run an ultra marathon. Like I mentioned, triathlon on the back burner, an ultra marathon, anything over 26.2 miles. I would love to run something like that, maybe a 50K or something. I want to finish the year with 1,250 total miles running. Last year I ran about 967. Battled through a lot of injuries. I don't think I'm going to have that problem this year. That's not even really stretching me as much as it should probably. I probably should have put that closer to 1,500. This is where I really start stretching myself. Qualify for the Boston Marathon. So I ran my first marathon in 2025, a couple months ago, in 0-degree wind chills, extremely windy conditions. My Garmin and Strava estimated I'd run about a 3:35 to a 3:40, and I ran a 3:55. I think I can drop a lot of time off that. This is asinine, but who gives a shit? If I do it, I'm going to be the one laughing. So, qualify for Boston. And I just kind of threw a little random one in here. Do a High Rocks. It's kind of tough. I don't have a High Rocks gym or cross-training gym anywhere around me. So when it comes to everything, kind of fucked. Business goals. Close 12 transactions, 2 being listings. Hold my first ever client event. I would love to host a golf outing client event one year. That would be fucking awesome. I would post 1 piece of real estate content every single week to my real estate pages, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. And I want to add 100 complete contacts to my database. When it comes to life, I want to post 3 pieces of content a week, whether that be fitness, lifestyle, health related. That'll go on my TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, etc. I'm not going to have a video goal for YouTube when it comes to full length. I've posted almost every week for a couple years now. I feel like I need to kind of reassess and set a new plan in place for that. Next, get married. I'm getting married in 49 days. You're going to see a series on my TikTok dropping about how I am dialing my health and dropping fat in a calorie deficit to get in the best shape possible for my wedding. I want to take 1 trip with friends, whether that be a hiking trip or just some fun weekend getaway. I want to visit my parents at least once. They are traveling the country currently. I want to be able to meet them at least once somewhere cool. Go on 1 long vacation. That's going to be happening for the wedding. I am getting married in Mexico, so that'll be done soon. Would love to see at least 3 new states. Some kind of small little goals that I think kind of impact my performance as a person is when I get in bed, I love to watch YouTube videos on my cell phone and prolong my sleep. A rule I'm going to set is no cell phone in bed on weeknights. So when I get into bed, that thing's going on the charger and I am done. Unless I have some crazy business thing I got to worry about, I got a contract out, not worrying about it. I would love to max out my Roth IRA for 2026. This is kind of non-measurable, but I want to say yes more. I found myself complaining and saying no a lot in my past, especially before I started this new job. I want to say yes when it comes to new experiences, making memories, this, that, and the other. And I want to get at least 7 hours of sleep a night, every night of the week. This first quarter is really about kind of locking in your new routines, getting consistent, setting your non-negotiables. It's not really about the results when it comes to the first quarter. You notice I don't have any marathons scheduled or anything like that. It's really about proving to myself I can show up, and that's where the second and third quarters come into play, and I really hammer down on stuff. No more talking about myself. I want to more so talk to the viewers at this point. I would love to inspire change for you guys when it comes to your goals, whether that be weight loss, fitness related, running, your career, personal life, relationships, etc. So a couple things that I feel like will really help you guys is number one, what we talked about in the beginning, write down your goals. Put them in ink, somewhere, preferably where you'll be able to see them. I don't think typing them in a cell phone has the same effect that actually handwriting your goals does. Step two, if you had goals in 2025, or even if you didn't have goals in 2025, take some time. Some real time to kind of review your last year. Review what disappointed you about the last year, what you could have done differently. You have to be brutally honest with yourself here. You can't really lie, or you're really going to impact your personal growth. Step three, I encourage you to create goals that are measurable and don't create an amount that is going to overwhelm you, and then break them down into quarters. Now in conclusion, 2026 shouldn't be about doing more. You're not actually doing more in the year unless you're really fucking slacking. You're more so drawing from other parts of your life and bringing others up. You're not just adding, you're adding and subtracting at the same time. Pick some things, do them consistently, and hold yourself to the standard. Anyways, that is going to do it for this week's video. Leave a like. Subscribe to the channel. It helps a ton, and hopefully I'll see you guys back here. See you guys.